Right now, the world is on a knife's edge. Over the last 24 hours, a series of absolutely seismic events have completely redrawn the lines of global power, faster than any single day I can remember. The very ground of geopolitics is shifting beneath our feet as we speak.
It all kicked off with live military action. A U.S. Navy submarine fires one of its most advanced torpedoes at an Iranian warship just 40 nautical miles off the coast of Sri Lanka. At the exact same time, thousands of miles away, the Pentagon starts pulling a critical missile defense system out of South Korea, leaving a key ally feeling, well, completely exposed. Then, an economic bombshell that nobody saw coming. An Indian energy giant makes a historic play to invest in a massive new oil refinery, of all places, in Brownsville, Texas. Meanwhile, away from all the action, in a quiet meeting room in Paris, the world's two biggest economic rivals, the US and China, call it tactical truce in their nasty trade war.
And the final piece of this giant global puzzle? The United States quietly takes operational control over Venezuela's enormous oil reserves and starts redirecting that oil for its own purposes. These events might seem scattered, totally unrelated, but they are deeply, deeply connected. Stay till the end because some shocking things I am going to reveal in this explainer. All right, let's get back to it.
These 5 things are not a coincidence. They are the blueprint for a whole new way of looking at global energy and security, and it was all drawn up in just one day. So the billion-dollar question is, what does that blueprint actually look like? We're about to break it all down.
Let's start with the most dramatic event, a direct military clash in the Indian Ocean and the diplomatic firestorm that erupted just a few hours later in New York.
So here's what we know. A U.S. nuclear submarine fired a Mark 48 torpedo at the Iris Dena, which is basically the pride of the Iranian Navy. And you have to understand, the choice of weapon here says everything. A Mark 48 is not a warning shot. It is one of the deadliest, most advanced torpedoes on the planet. Using it means the U.S. saw a direct and immediate threat. And the location? Deep in the Indian Navy's backyard, that sends a huge message to the whole region.
Now, while that torpedo was still in the water, India was launching a strike of its own, but in the diplomatic world. According to The Hindu, India actually co-sponsored a UN resolution that condemns Iran in the harshest possible terms, especially for threatening that vital oil choke point, the Strait of Hormuz.
This is a massive, massive shift in Indian foreign policy. For decades, India has played this careful balancing act, what they call strategic autonomy, keeping good relationships with Iran and with Iran's enemies. This vote just shatters that entire policy. By pointing the finger directly at Iran, India is sending a clear signal. Threatening our energy supply is a red line we will not let you cross.
The vote itself was a blowout, 13-0. But the real story is in who didn't vote, Russia and China. This tells you everything about their tricky position. China needs oil from the Gulf, so it can't anger them, but it also won't vote against its partner, Iran. Russia's in a similar boat. The bottom line? On the world stage, Iran is now almost completely isolated.
Okay, let's jump over to the Pacific and see how this all connects. As the U.S. was escalating things with Iran, it made another colossal decision that's now creating a dangerous power vacuum on the Korean Peninsula.
The Pentagon confirmed it's moving pieces of its THAAD missile defense system from South Korea all the way to the Middle East. Now, THAAD isn't just any old anti-missile system. Its radar is so powerful it can see deep inside North Korea and China. Moving it is a huge risk, one that directly impacts the safety of thousands of U.S. troops and 51 million South Koreans.
And the reaction from South Korea? It's been intense. The Asian News Network is reporting a feeling of a security vacuum, that they've essentially been abandoned. You know, for years, the U.S. has called the Pacific its #1 priority. This move tells its allies that when the shooting starts somewhere else, those priorities can change in an instant.
So who wins and who loses here? It's pretty obvious. North Korea is feeling pretty good right now. South Korea is facing a real threat with less protection. And the biggest winner, China. Beijing has hated the THAAD system for years, and now it's being removed. That's a huge strategic win that they got without lifting a finger.
All right, now for the most unexpected move of all. This is where the story pivots from military hardware to the raw power of economics, and it reveals a new alliance that could literally reshape the entire global energy map.
I want you to look at this number, 50 years. That's how long it's been since a new, large-scale crude oil refinery was built in the United States. Well, that's about to change. There's a massive project plan for Brownsville, Texas. And Bloomberg is reporting the lead investor is none other than India's Reliance Industries.
The strategic thinking here from Reliance chairman Mukesh Ambani is just brilliant. First, it gets his company away from its reliance on the now very dangerous Persian Gulf. Second, it lets him tap into all that cheap and plentiful U.S. shale oil. And third, it completely separates his supply chain from all the chaos in the Middle East. It is a total masterstroke.
Now, while the whole world was watching warships and oil deals, a very quiet but incredibly important meeting was happening in Paris, and it puts this entire global conflict into a brand new light.
The big headline from this meeting is that China has agreed to immediately buy 12 million tons of U.S. soybeans. To put that into perspective for you, that is roughly 1/3 of the entire American annual crop. This is not some small gesture. It's a massive economic move with huge political importance back in the U.S.
So, why would they do this now? Well, it's a cold, calculated move from both sides. For the US, it calms things down on the economic front, which lets them focus 100% of their attention on the war with Iran. For China, it buys them some breathing room and stops the relationship from totally collapsing while America's busy somewhere else.
This is a ceasefire, not a peace treaty.
Okay, so we've got a torpedo attack, a missile shield moving, a huge energy deal, and a trade war truce. Now it's time to connect all those dots and reveal the final piece of the puzzle that completes this new global picture. And that final piece is Venezuelan oil. With the Maduro regime gone, the U.S. has stepped in and is now directly overseeing Venezuela's oil sales. This is a huge deal for two reasons. It lets the U.S. flood the market with oil to keep prices stable during the Iran crisis, and it's a direct shot at Beijing, cutting off China's access to oil from its former ally.
So here it is, the grand theory that ties this all together. The United States has made a massive gamble. It's decided to prioritize the immediate, hot war with Iran, and to do that, it's pulling critical assets like THAAD out of the Pacific, and it's accepting the risk that comes with that.
But it's hedging that bet by building a brand new energy security alliance. Think of it as a new inner circle built on American shale, Indian money, and Venezuelan oil, creating a powerful new supply chain that completely bypasses the chaos of the Persian Gulf.
So, after all that, who won and who lost in this crazy 24-hour global shuffle? The losers are pretty clear: South Korea and Japan, who feel left behind. Iran, obviously, which is facing a full-on assault. And the old idea of Indian non-alignment is basically dead. The winners? China gets THAAD removed. India gets a historic energy deal. And the U.S. administration gets to push forward with its strategy of energy realism.
This whole situation is incredibly fluid, it's changing by the hour. Here's what you need to be watching. Look for North Korea to test a missile to take advantage of that THAAD gap. Expect Iran to try something drastic in the Strait of Hormuz. Keep an eye on where the Indian Navy moves its ships. And watch for the final details of that Reliance deal in Texas. That's going to tell us how real this new alliance is.
This leaves us with some huge questions. Is South Korea right to feel abandoned in all this? And could this wild new energy alliance between Texas and India really be the thing that finally breaks the world's addiction to the OPEC joke point? I want to know what you think in the comments. This story is moving fast, and we are going to be tracking every single development. To get our latest analysis as this new world order starts to take shape, make sure you subscribe for more explainers just like this one. Thanks for watching. Stay informed.